Amazing. Well, again, welcome everyone. I'm Anjanette, and I'm just so excited to have you all here tonight. And I'm excited for the friends I have sharing, because this topic's so close to all of our hearts, because in one shape or another, we've all been affected by pharmaceuticals and how they can have long-lasting effects. And tonight, my friends are going to be sharing how they were able to say goodbye to big pharma and hello to health. That's what tonight's about, and just sharing some amazing stories of how just making some changes in your life can help you do that. And so I'm excited to have them share. So, like I said, my name is Anjanette, and how I got introduced to this company is that my husband, all of a sudden, he'd been having some ear issues and had taken antibiotics for a couple different things. And then out of nowhere, he had this crazy reaction to where 16 years prior, he had was able to get off all pain medicines, and there was a certain level of addiction there. But for him, he knew it. He was telling me, I don't understand what's going on with my body. I feel like I'm going through withdrawals again. And so it just really sent his life in this tailspin. And it was very scary. And then the doctors prescribed him more things and to counteract what was going on in his body, because they didn't understand either his symptoms. And his heart rate was just phenomenally high, and they just really didn't know what in the world was going on with him. And so it took about 6 weeks to finally figure out and research on his part before he got any relief. And what we found out was that it was actually a reaction to prolonged antibiotic use. And one thing that we learned in our experience was that doctors, at least the doctors we had available to us, don't always know that different people have different reactions. And as we know, when we see the commercials and everything, there's all kinds of warnings of side effects. Well, my husband happened to be one of those persons that experienced a lot of the side effects from these drugs, but also found out he was having gut issues, and that it caused leaky gut for prolonged use. So after this time, he got on to make the story short, because I want to really have time for everyone. So what happened is that we found we had been organic and holistic for quite a long time, and doing our best to stay that way. And he was on a progression. He had gotten off through diet, off of his diabetic medication, and was able to maintain his diabetics with just diet and the right nutrition. So through this process, we found someone who was going to help him with gut repair, and it was costing us over $3,000. And they only met for just a very short time. It was just a couple months, and they only met maybe a total of 6 times in these 3 months. Really didn't offer much support. Sent him a site to order the medications through, sent him this to go order through this, but there was really no one-on-one and absolutely no support. Then we saw a friend of mine, and he said, and we were talking one night, he says, I need to get a maintenance program. I need prolonged maintenance. I need to be able to, they got me to this certain point, but there's nothing afterwards. And so in talking to our friend, we found out, that's how we were introduced to Purium, and found out that not only can this heal his gut, but it brought me too. And I found out, oh, you mean I wasn't even thinking about me, because he was like really top priority. And then we saw this could help him. We saw that it could not only help myself with my having postmenopausal and my aches and pains from having surgery, and was going to have surgery on the other arm, but also help relief and support for my mom who has dementia. So we were just so excited, and so we really didn't have to think twice. We trusted Grace. And as we learned more about the company and learned more from Taz, who was talking with Grace about the company, about the products, and realized it checked off so many boxes for us. It was organic, our products are grown on regenerative farms, and there's so much support in this community and so many different Facebook pages and just so much support that we were so excited, and we said yes. We really didn't hesitate to join and to start experiencing the products. And within 3 days of experiencing the products, taking the ULT and going through my cleanse, and especially for us, the apothecary and the super aminos were amazing. And for me, the white ginseng was a big game changer, because it helped with the apothecary take away my and support me with not having any more hot flashes. And so through this process, we have been able to share with so many people, like we get to with you tonight. But really, I want to really introduce you to some amazing friends that stories are way powerful is not even a word, so amazing, much more, thank you, my husband saying, much more powerful than ours, although I don't want to diminish our experience. But I'm just so excited to have Edina here with us tonight, and Haley and Allison to share. So with no further ado, I want to introduce my friend Edina, and she's going to share her amazing story. And once again, I thank you all for joining us. Edina, would you please share your amazing story? And thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, everyone. So this lifestyle, Purium, these superfoods have been a complete game changer for me. Prior to this lifestyle, I thought I knew what gut health was. So I was taking probiotics and all kinds of synthetic supplements, spending thousands of dollars and never having any impact on my body. So when I was 14 years old, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I had inflammation in my knees to the point where I actually couldn't straighten my legs. I couldn't bend my knees. It took a while before I got this diagnosis. So I did spend a year not knowing what was going on with my body. I actually had to quit my very first job at Cinema Guzzo because I couldn't stand for more than an hour. This was at 14 years of age. So when they finally removed some of the fluid and did some testing, they gave me the diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis, and they put me on a host of medications. So the first one was a biologics called Symphony, and that worked for a period of time to reduce some of the inflammation until the drug itself, this, what is it? It's like biologics suppresses the immune system, and it just stopped working for me. So they had to switch me to Humira. And on top of these biologics that they put me on, they also had me on a high dose of prednisone, which is a steroid, and methotrexate. Along these years, as I'm going through my adolescence, growing up, I'm also experiencing a high level of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and insomnia. So of course, it snowballed into mental health issues. I got onto anti-anxiety medications, Ativan, sleeping pills, like very addictive ones, Zopiclone. I was on pain medication, like we're talking Percocets for chronic pain, and other like mental health medications as well. And on top of that, just to help, not numb the pain and cope with what I was going through, I was also experimenting with recreational drugs and alcohol use, because I was just trying to cope with the pain, with the depression. And this was just a Band-Aid, by the way. So even while I was taking all these strong pharmaceutical drugs, it really wasn't solving the problem for me. And doctors were telling me that this was the only solution. And the reason why I believed them was because every time I tried to lower my dosage of prednisone, which is a very strong steroid, it would result in a huge flare-up in my knees, so bad that I couldn't get out of bed, sometimes for 3 days. And I would have to get my knees drained, which was a very painful process. So over the years, I learned to believe my doctors, that I will be on these medications lifelong, that there's no other solutions for me. And, I was afraid because I was tired of having my knees drained. It was a really traumatic experience for me, and having to do that, week after week, month after month, I just kind of gave up on getting off of all of my medications. I did explore over the years changing my diet. So this is where probiotics and other things like synthetic supplements, because I didn't know better then. This is where it came into my life, and it never made any difference whatsoever. On top of everything that I was going through, I was also getting repeated infections. I am talking 3 to 6 rounds of antibiotics per year. And I really didn't understand the connection between gut health and mental health. So of course, no wonder I was depressed. I was on all these medications. But when I found Purium, which was 2 years ago, it really took 1 month for the inflammation in my joints to go down. 1 month to feel what happiness really feels like. I've never felt that before. The depression lifted. I no longer had sleep issues. I was off of Zopiclone. I was off of Ativan. No more. I had a panic attack disorder for 2 years. No more panic attack disorder. I was off my pain meds. And then, when I started to see that my mental health was getting better and the inflammation was going down, I thought maybe there's a chance for me with this lifestyle to lower my biologics, my steroids, my methotrexate, and actually deal with my autoimmune health for once. And so I decided to not just do the ultimate lifestyle transformation for 1 month, but to live it as a lifestyle. And I'm 2 and almost a half years into this lifestyle. I've fired my rheumatologist and my family doctor. I haven't been on antibiotics in 2.5 years. When I get sick, I recover much quicker now. I'm off my biologics. I've lowered my prednisone and I'm off my methotrexate. And so this is an incredible story. It almost feels like an out of body experience, like it's not my own. It's been quite a journey because there is a psychological and physical addiction to these drugs. And so I've really relied on this nutrition and this lifestyle to give me the support during those times where I may have some flares in my body and I'm tempted to go back to my medication. But I can tell you this, I haven't had to have my knees drained once. I haven't had to go back on those drugs. And this community has been a huge support for me. Seeing that it's possible for other people to reverse their conditions with this lifestyle gave me the hope to give it a chance. And here I am today, 2.5 years in. And this lifestyle really is about alkalizing your body to lower inflammation with Green Power Shake. It's all about the gut repair, removing glyphosate from your gut so you can improve your absorption, so you can finally repair your gut. Because all of these drugs really destroyed my gut health and therefore my mental health. And you know what? My favorite product, like if I had to pick one, I would say the Supermuno but I'm gonna let Haley cover that one. So my second favorite product would be the Apothecary. And the reason for that, reason why I never wanna run out of the Apothecary is because it helps with joint inflammation. And this is really, really important for me. It has so many other health benefits too. It's loaded with vitamin C. It's really what got me off my sleeping pills. I have a natural circadian rhythm, sleep 8 hours. I wake up at the same time every day. I was an insomniac for 10 years before the Apothecary. And not only that, if I have just a little bit of inflammation in my joints, because it fluctuates from time to time, I just make sure to have 2 teaspoons of the Apothecary at night. And over sleep, it does the repair. And when I wake up in the morning, the inflammation in my joints are always gone. So hands down, the Apothecary, can't live without it.
Oh my gosh, Edina, thank you so much for sharing. Your story is so amazing. And we get to hear this repeated over and over again with the people we get to share these products with. Like my husband's had 5 back surgeries. We don't take Advil. We take Apothecary and the Joint Flex. And it's so great to have these natural products that have no side effects available to us. And so Edina, thank you so much for sharing. I love your story. The next amazing story I want to share is Haley, and I'm so grateful for her giving her time this afternoon to share with us. So Haley, will you please unmute and share your beautiful story with us as well?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Haley, and thank y'all all for coming and taking time out of your evening to join this call. So I was introduced to Purium about 7 months ago now. I reached out to a friend who I knew is vegan, and I was feeling very discouraged because I've been vegetarian for about six to 7 years now. I eat really healthy. I work out. Um, I get good sleep. I feel like I was doing all the right things, but I was needing to take 2 to 3 naps throughout the day to have enough energy to do what I needed. I was having severe migraines once a week to where I would have to take off work because I would be in bed all day, not able to function because my migraines were so bad. Um, and Was really struggling with my anxiety and depression as well. And so I was just out of options. I was like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's going on. Do I need to eat meat again? Is that the problem? What's going on? Um, and she introduced me to Allison, and Allison taught me about the gut brain connection. A lot about what Edina said about, um, if your gut isn't repaired and healthy, then, you're not getting those nutrients. So even though I was doing all the right things, so to speak, I didn't have a healthy gut, and um, I wasn't able to absorb the nutrients that I was getting and that I was eating, and it was affecting all these other areas of my life. And so I said, okay, well, I've tried everything. I'm just going to try this. I know it worked for y'all. I don't know, but I was out of options at that point. So I tried it out. I went all in. Within 3 days, I remember waking up and feeling like energized and just uh, like clear headed. I wasn't taking naps after a few days. Like I wasn't needing to take a nap. I was able to just like keep going throughout the day. And I was like, what, why am I not feeling tired? Why, like, I was having energy. Um, I, my focus, my mental clarity just felt a lot better. Um, I wasn't wanting to lose weight or trying to lose weight. But it did help me with like toning and just getting any excess fat off and things like that, to where that also helped me feel better. Um, and it's 7 months now since I first started this lifestyle. I have not had one migraine since then. I had them for 4 years, once a week for 4 years. And so it's just so worth it for that. I would go to my doctor about it before I was introduced to Purium, and they would say, okay, well, you can choose between these three medicines to take when you get a migraine, but you need to give yourself the whole next day to recover from this medicine, because it kind of knocks you out. And I'm like, well, one, that defeats the purpose, because then I'm not out for just one day, I'm out for 2 days. And two, I want to get to the root of the problem. Like, I don't want to have these migraines at all. This isn't normal. And I'm so thankful for Purium for that, because they helped me get to the root of the problem, which was that I was having gut issues. And so I'm so thankful for that. And the other thing is, I don't have to take naps throughout the day anymore. Sometimes I'll lounge on the weekend, but working a full-time job and also doing this on the side, I have the energy to do that. Um, and the last thing is, Allison is the one who really inspired me on this. I had been on my antidepressant medication for about 5 years, and I have tried to get off of it about 3 or 4 times prior to starting Purium. And every time that I tried to get off of it, I it was a very scary experience. I would feel very suicidal. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't get off the couch, and it was to the point where it was like, doctors and people were saying that you're going to have to take this the rest of your life. Like, you have a chemical imbalance, and you're going to have to be on this. It's not worth you trying to get off and you feeling this way. Right. Um, And with Allison inspired me with her getting off of hers. And I said, I'm finally feeling better. I'm finally having better energy. My body feels a lot better. My mind feels a lot clearer without the mental fog. And I was like, so I'm going to try again. And I feel more confident this time because my body is in a better place. And so it has been coming up on 7 months that I'm completely free of my antidepressant medication. Haven't taken any ibuprofen for migraines or any other medication for that. And I am just so, so, so thankful. This has been the best investment for my health and well-being. And I hope everyone gets to experience this. And then onto my favorite product, it is the Super Aminos 23. These have helped a lot with my energy levels. The aminos are available to your body in 23 minutes. So I automatically feel, that energy and that mental clarity and focus that I need for the day. It also tightens your skin and burns fat. And so, like I said, I've always worked out my whole life, never been able to get abs, but thanks to the super aminos, my abs are finally showing up. So I'm also thankful for that. And all of the products are great, but this is just one that I love and do never want to run out of. So thank you all so much for letting me share and for coming tonight. And if you have any questions or anything, you can always reach out to me directly.
Oh my gosh, Haley, I am so grateful and thankful for your story because again, what we were hearing like Edina's and Haley's is there was no hope. They were listening to Big Pharma. They were listening to putting Band-Aids upon Band-Aids. Well, our next share is Allison, and talk about Band-Aids that she was able to rip off is so amazing. And I'm just excited for her to share with you how she was also able to get the help she needed. So Allison, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you so much. Wow, I related with so much of, and mostly Edina and Haley's story, because really my struggle has been, it was the lack of hope in the mental health. But I started from a young age, with a label given to me that I was had learning disabilities. And so from even before I could consent to medication or even do my own research, I was 11 years old when I was put on Ritalin, and I was put on a high dose. I was like, only 80 or something pounds. And I was put on I know what now I research. I was put on it was 10 milligrams in the morning and 10 at lunch. And it really affected me. All medications have side effects, and I wish my parents had, researched more, because they were just so trusting of doctors, and we were all trusting of doctors. My grandmother was actually the psychiatrist who put me in touch with the childhood psychiatrist that prescribed them to me. So it was anyway, it led to so many other issues. It's a snowball effect. So once I became, as I was on these for so long, I developed sleep disorders, really severe insomnia, and I was prescribed a sleeping pill in high school. And I was then also, because I was so foggy, I was taking stimulants. I was even having coffee from a young age because my parents thought that was okay. And all of these, no one looked at my diet. Nobody questioned what I was eating every day. And I was eating what normal people were eating: sugary cereals and, all the store-bought juices and chips and, everything that was all around us. And it wasn't until I got pregnant. Okay. So throughout my 20s was a downward spiral of just terrible things. Like I was hanging out with the wrong people. I was doing so many drugs. I was then put on antidepressants. I was put on anti-anxiety, which is very addictive. As Edina was saying, the Ativan, the sleeping pills, these are very, very addictive substances. And I relied on them. And then when I got pregnant, I really needed to get off. I really knew in my heart that I wanted to get off of these medications, even though my doctors were telling me it's okay to be on a low dose of them through pregnancy. I still really wanted to get off of them. So like Haley, I had tried so many times and I would relapse. I did manage to get off of most of my medications throughout pregnancy, but then after pregnancy, I was diagnosed, after my second was born, I was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis. It was diagnosed by another doctor as bipolar. I was seeing so many different psychiatrists and therapists. I was in full-time therapy. I was really scared and I couldn't go back to work because of it. I did do some freelance work, but it really gave me anxiety. Jared was working really long hours and I was really afraid for myself as like, you know, living in winter in Montreal, really isolated and having to take care of 2 kids under 3. And I felt really scared because I didn't know what kind of mother I was going to be, because I actually had a long lineage of, in my mother's side, of mental health disorders. And I did not want to, you know, perpetrate any of the behaviors. I didn't want that cycle to continue. And I was praying for something. It turned out, which was a blessing, my daughter was allergic to dairy. My second daughter, as I was breastfeeding. So I had to cut out all the dairy, which was a really, really big level up in my awakening when I realized, oh my God, I could live without dairy, because I used to be vegetarian too, on and off my whole life, and I could handle not eating meat, but dairy was always like, I couldn't live without, you know, cheese and stuff. So that's what forced me to realize I can let go of this. And you know, the dairy alone, just cutting out the dairy, I tell everyone, just cut out dairy. Like if you could do anything, like, I don't care how much you like, just like, please, it's inflammation. And it creates like so many, like, it just helped me. And then I started to, once I was like kind of in the vegan community, I actually met this woman named Taz who had been plant-based longer. And she shared with me this gut repair. She was like, have you ever tried a gut repair before? And I said, no, but I'm doing everything right. You know, I was eating plant-based, I was eating whole foods, but I didn't know about glyphosate. That was the missing piece to the puzzle. And when I did this ULT, which is, I recommend everyone starts with the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, because it truly prepares our body. And it's like an accelerated repair. I felt within 3 days, I really, really felt a huge shift in my mental health, like huge, to a point where I was on 5 medications when I started this. And within a few weeks, I naturally, and I did not, I'm sorry, I can say this because it's not, you know, I can say this with honesty. I didn't consult with my doctor. I just didn't need to. I knew in my heart that I don't need this anymore. And I left them, you know, kind of cold turkey. I had reduced, and then I went on a trip. I left them at home. And I've never gone back since then. I've been off of all 5 of my medications for 4 years now, completely. And, you know, it's a journey. Like, this is not a miracle, but what it does is it like reconnects us to ourselves, and it gives our body the environment that it can heal itself. So I've seen it now, like, better than my own story. I'm just like, oh my God, sharing this with people who have witnessed their transformations is just, there's nothing better in the whole world. So I would love to share, actually, I shared this with Kevin. I know, Kevin, can you just share like a brief story? Because you had an incredible story as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to say I'm eternally grateful for you, you know, for sharing this with me, as well as, you know, all those stories I can definitely resonate really strong with. Maybe I can give a little bit a male's perspective, maybe real quick. You know, I kind of grew up like living like a standard American, like a typical standard American. The average American eats about 3 cheeseburgers a week. You know, that was me. I was eating a lot of Mexican food. I was eating out, you know, pretty much every single day. My relationship with like the medical system was, on my mom's side, I was kind of a little bit scared of it, because I knew she was on a lot of medications. And then on my dad's side, he made me really scared of it, because he's like, we're never going to the hospital because we don't got insurance, and that's expensive. I even remember breaking my arm as a kid. I broke my shoulder, and I remember I was like, I think I broke my arm. I went home, and he was like, we're not going to the hospital. I wrote with my left hand at school. That's how much we weren't going to the hospital, even with a broken arm. And so I kind of grew up with a lot of those fears around that. And I didn't really know anything about diet or nutrition or food or nothing like that. I worked in the restaurants, and I ate a lot of junk food, and that's kind of the lifestyle that I lived, which I think is kind of common in America. So anyways, at 25, I ended up getting sick. I developed a disease. I was waking up at like 3 a.m. feeling like I was hit by like a car, like in a car accident in my back. as if I had like whiplash or something in my neck. I couldn't get out of bed. It was super, super painful. And it was every single morning. And I was like, what has happened? Like nothing happened. I didn't get in an accident. Nothing happened. I ended up going to the doctor. They diagnosed me with an autoimmune disease called ankylosing spondylitis, which is like rheumatoid arthritis, which we heard from earlier, very similar kind of relationship, but it was attacking my spine. If untreated, my spine would fuse together and it wouldn't be able to bend. So imagine people doing back bends or any kind of bendiness in the back or in the spine. It's like completely like a board, like a flat board where you cannot move. And it also caused extreme inflammation. I was trying, like I said, a lot of different things, but the doctor said the only option was a medication that was $4,000 a month. I could not afford that. I was like, who can afford $4,000 a month? Like, that's so crazy. That's more than most people's house payment, most people's car payments. That's a ridiculous number. So I basically suffered the next 4 years. And what actually happened is you would think that you might change your ways, but I didn't know that the food was causing my disease. So I just stayed the same because the doctors, like you said, didn't say that there was anything to do with nutrition. They said, you need to take this drug. It's for the rest of your life. And there's no other options. There was no other conversation. So what else am I going to do? And we're always told, trust your doctor. Even though I had a fear, I still trusted them. I was just scared to go because of cost and getting on prescriptions that I didn't want. Like that was the fear, but I still kind of thought that they were they were right, And so my dad committed suicide at 29, and that was a mental health issue. That was when I was first faced with a mental health crisis. I already had my health crisis. I was like, okay, enough is enough. It was like my wake-up call. I probably would have just stayed down the same route, maybe going down depression, someone with an autoimmune disease, every 5 years, they develop another one every 5 years later on average. So I was about hitting that 5-year mark where I'm probably going to develop another one, probably developing cancer as we speak. I was pre-diabetic. I was going down a bad path. And that was like my wake-up call. I remember I wanted to change and do better. I went back to the doctors. They gave me the medication. I started taking the medication. The side effects of the medication made me sick. It weakened the immune system. My immune system was really bad. I got the flu. I was sick in bed. I remember I was so sick that I couldn't talk. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. And someone recommended me to watch the documentary, What the Health, while I was sick in bed. That was the first time I learned anything about diet or disease or anything like that. It talked about the common diseases that we face in America, like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and kind of some of the foods that may be causing those. I was like, let me try this. I'll do anything to get better. Within a week, I got better. Within a few more months, I started studying nutrition. I wanted to get better. Within, I started posting on social media. That's when I found Allison. And that's when I said, you know what, I really want to. I tried juicing, I tried raw, I tried everything I could possibly think of, and nothing was working for me. But the key was the gut health that we've mentioned before, was healing the gut, because most autoimmune disease is inflammation. It's inflammation inside your body. You fix that, and you fix that in the gut, you eliminate a lot of the issues with autoimmune disease. Most of the diseases that we're facing starts in the gut. And I was finally, probably for the first time in my life, deeply nourished with food that's coming from regenerative soil, right? Let's say the example of 1 carrot of regenerative soil, you need to eat 200 carrots grown in conventional soil, as an example. No one can eat 200 carrots, right? But people can eat, a few carrots of regenerative soil, and it's going to make a bigger impact on their life and their longevity, getting the vitamins and minerals. So it's the combination of those two things. And that can really relieve a lot of people from 2020, the beginning of 2020 to the end. I was relieved of all my symptoms. I would wake up and I sleep throughout the night completely. I don't have my autoimmune disease, and I don't take any medication anymore. And I think that's the big thing that people can realize. And the biggest thing I say to anyone is that you have to believe it, because the first step of most people's lives in what they hear from the medical system is it cannot be cured, it's impossible. And they immediately believe that. But the first step you have to do is believe that you can overcome this. If you have that, then you have like the biggest battle won, to be honest, is believing that you can do it. Because if you don't have that, really nothing's going to work if you don't believe it. So that's what I say most people need to start with.
Wow. Kevin, thank you so much for your amazing story. And I really appreciate everyone's shares so much. And I want to wrap us up. I'm going to give it back to Allison, and she just has a beautiful invitation for everyone who came tonight. So Allison, can you just close us out real quick?
Thank you, Angie. And thank you, Kevin, for on the spot, just sharing like that. I always, this is what we live for. So we start with healing ourselves. So this package, anyone who invited you here has over $100 to get you started, which is a huge savings. And this will change your life, change the course of your life. You just don't know until you know. And then what is so incredible about this unique program, because I mean, this is really, this lifestyle is just so healing. But what is so amazing is it actually comes with an opportunity wrapped around it that has saved our life on other levels. So for me personally, here I am in Miami, to escape the freezing cold winter. I'm able to do that because I've shared this with so many people that you see here tonight. And it's allowed me to actually liberate myself, and my family. My husband was able to retire after 1 year of me sharing this because I needed to. By the way, my husband was my first customer. And when I saw his transformation, because, we all think, okay, well, it's just me. Maybe I just believed it would work. And that's why it did. My husband was not a huge believer. And so when I saw his transformation, he lost his asthma and his allergies and about 25 pounds. It was like, okay, the whole world needs this. And I didn't know that respiratory issues were related to gut health. And then I start seeing other people with autoimmune diseases healing. And I'm like, what? This is all gut health. Everything is gut health. And so it is just what a gift to be able to be using something, because we all share what we love anyways, right? And then we actually get compensated for doing so. So not only does it come with this incredible opportunity, but it comes with an incredible community that truly supports us in our healing and in our rising as leaders to share this with others as well. So please get back to whoever invited you. You have been chosen for a reason. And I am so grateful. Happy full moon, everyone. Feeling this really beautiful energy tonight. And it's just an incredible time to love ourselves so deeply and, take a chance and do something that may be out of your comfort zone, but truly can change your life forever. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I just want to thank everybody one more time. And like Allison said, get with the person who invited you tonight. And because we had such powerful shares, we weren't really able to go into specifics about the product, but that's what's so great. We get to just touch on stories, and the person who invited you will be so thrilled to just share their personal story and more about the products. So again, I want to just thank everyone for coming tonight and sharing your time and your space with us. Thank you to Edina and Haley and Allison and Kevin for being put on the spot and sharing. And I just appreciate you all for coming. If you have any questions, get with the person who invited you. And we just wish you abundance and blessings and health. And thank you for your time tonight, and have an amazing night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
Angie, for hosting.
Thank you, everyone.